as much.
Yeah,
No,
so you
I
asking
have.
me and you
I'll
asking
tell you
everybody else.
Have you ever quit a job? then?
Well, no. Have I ever tried to quit a job?
Yeah.
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 Well, no. Yeah.
Well, okay.
I tried to quit living single.
What do you mean? Why'd you try to quit?
Newsflash. I tried to quit living single, y'all.
Why?
Job dissatisfaction, pay disparity.
Oh.
And quit, frankly, quit is the wrong word. It was more like, if my needs are not met, I might have to seek new employment.
Sounds like a threat. Let me ask you that.
It kind of was. You know what I mean? Yeah, I slipped him a note. You know what I'm saying?
Like, give
and
me
I had
what
a
I
small
want.
gun underneath the table. It was like, yo, you either give me what I need or I'm going to roll up in there.
Okay, well, then why did you stay then?
Look, I was signed to a contract, and it was
Like
a
all of
6-year
us.
contract. You were, right? I had the same contract. But if I took a pay raise and they gave me a pay raise, then I'd have to meet the obligations of the 6-year contract and stay and that type of thing. But at least I'd have the salary increase. So that's what happened.
Oh, I did not know this, Erica.
Yeah. By the way, no one did. It's private negotiation.
Okay. All right. Wow. Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Well, since you speak of change, now you got me a little concerned. Would you tell me in advance if things change between us?
No, probably not, because that would be too weird.
I would just quit on you.
That's not happening, so.
They gonna let you quit. Yo, you ain't gonna quit here. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to Reliving Single, the official, unofficial Living Single Rewatch podcast.
Yes. And today I think we're going to talk about, being valued and what it's like to be undervalued and have these conversations.
Yeah. Well, as artists, we have those talks all the time because we consistently feel undervalued.
I don't think anybody in the world really feels as if they're always valued. It's part of life's journey, and it's, kind of what you have to deal with now and again.
And it's
right?
a byproduct of a larger industry in entertainment. Yeah. The workers. We went on strike. We had a big one 2 years ago. We out there with our picket signs talking about strike, strike, strike.
We deserve what we deserve. And that's what this episode is about.
Yes.
Does Sinclair get what she deserves? And we're going to see if she gets valued the way she's supposed to get valued, because she is valuable.
Let's get into it.
It's time for the rewind, where we watch and relive Living Single with you. Here we go with Living Single Season 1, Episode 10, Quitting Time. And the story is that Khadijah refuses to give Sinclair a promotion. Sinclair quits. Khadijah hires Mrs. Ryan, an efficient but unenthusiastic and a little bit scary secretary.
Yep.
And then that's the A story.
Yeah.
And the B story is what?
Overton attempts to upgrade the girl's apartment, but has some rewiring issues. I challenge you to say that fast. Rewiring issues.
Rewiring issues. Rewiring issues. You want to do it together?
You did pretty good. Rewiring issues. Boom.
Woo.
That's called craft. This is one of the great guest stars.
One of the great guest stars, the Isabel Sanford. And to work and play with her was a delight. She's a goddess.
No, Emmy Award winning Isabel Sanford.
Yeah, and
you know her as Wheezy on the Jeffersons.
George.
Yes.
I love her.
It was a revolutionary show, The Jeffersons, because it showed, talk about moving on up.
Right.
They were moving on up to the East Side.
She was also in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and All in the Family. Actually, she was a spinoff, right?
Yeah, she was a spinoff of
from All in the Family. The first Black actress to win an Emmy Award in
comedy.
Outstanding Lead in Comedy.
An Outstanding Lead in Comedy.
And then how long did it take for us to get another one?
40 years.
40 years.
Quinta Brunson,
40 years later.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the great Isabel Sanford is in there. And you got to play with her.
I got to play with her.
Yes,
and I tell the story of me taking her over to the audience, because our set was sort of off to the side. And I took her to the audience and said, everybody, do you all know who this is? This is the queen of comedy. She's all these things. And all she said was, I did my best. I walked back to the set. I did my best.
That's classy.
Goddess. She's left us now, but she's still with us forevermore. And she's with us in this episode right now. So let's start watching the episode. Let's go.
Flavor Magazine, news and views for you to peruse. Okay, please hold and be held by the soothing sounds of Luther Vandross.
Khadijah, it's Frank from the distributing company.
I don't want to talk to that no-butt rip-off artist.
Hello, Khadijah. It's No But Frank. Got a minute?
They put the speaker button and the whole button so close together.
Hey, Khadijah, finish filling out those papers. Thanks a lot. I won't let you down.
That's why you got the job.
All right.
You gave him a promotion?
Yeah.
Hey, Kim.
Yay!
That scene is really about seeing who Sinclair is at work.
Right.
She's not very efficient or competent at her job. She makes mistakes. Now, I'm not saying that she doesn't have her pluses, but right now in that scene, we're not seeing them.
That's right. That's right. That's
you're
right.
a drag on the company.
She's, cheerfully making mistakes. And I just want to do a shout out that I got a chance to, I had opened for Luther Vandross for a while. And so to get a chance to shout him out, the soothing sounds of Luther Vandross, that felt like a little wink to him.
The actor comes in that plays Jonathan, and he gets a promo. Right. He gets a promo right in front of your face. Who was that? He looks like Luther Vandross. Luther Vandross was there, but he gets a promo right in front of your face, and that sets off.
What's that all about?
Your thoughts about, hey, man.
Hook me up.
Yeah.
I've been here working for you.
Messing things up. Promote me. So.
But I also love that Sinclair realizes this, and like she goes in to demand something more. Like she doesn't sit and just take it. She actually says, well, what about me?
Yeah.
And then Khadijah, knowing her well enough to know, you think about what you want and then come back.
You're going to have to decide what it is that you think that you want or why you want it.
That's life's journey, isn't it? What do you want and why do you want it?
She also knows it's going to take you till next year to come back with that.
It's very true. Very true.
You feel like she's justified to want a promotion?
I actually don't think she's ready for a promotion. She just is wondering why this guy got it over her and why aren't you, I want something else. She knows she wants something else, but she doesn't know what it is.
Well, baby, what's the matter?
Just trying to figure out what I want to do with my life.
Sinclair, it's easy. You pick something that you enjoy and you turn that into a career. Oh, Sinclair, come on now. What are your goals? Don't you have any dreams?
Oh, I have dreams. I like to feed all the hungry children. I like to cure all the diseases that infect our trees. I'd like to be the office manager at a magazine. I'd like to, hey, back up. Oh, there it is.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm finding my way.
Yes, absolutely.
We're seeing a little bit of the B story. Overton is rewiring things and making things happen, which then causes the lights to blink. And we see that, Kyle comes in and obviously he's had a shaving accident,
but Sinclair is defeated and she's angry.
Yeah.
And she's discussing these life goals and with her friends, and they're going to tell her about their career paths.
Right.
And discuss it. And she's got to figure out what she'd like to do.
Right.
And she actually discovers, she says, I want to be the office manager of a magazine.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's
so
there.
It just comes to her while she's talking about saving trees and whatnot.
Right. But isn't that how it goes though? Like sometimes you don't know. Like I know there's times in my life where I don't know what I want. And then through a series of reflective questions, and sometimes I'm asking them myself or I see it, or you have a conversation with a friend and it can be brought forth for you. And so don't stop yourself if you need that help. Like you think you got to figure it out yourself. And sometimes you need a little prompting.
Yeah. But sometimes if you talk to friends, they're the worst people to talk to because it can become competitive. You might feel a little jealous. Like things seep in that may make you want or do things that may not necessarily be your thing. Like, girl, you got to go get yours.
I get that. But the good news about that is that you then get to decipher that piece of advice is not for me. That's not for me. Sometimes here's the thing. In seeking what you do want, sometimes finding out what you don't want is just as good.
It's true.
Come on.
There was something that happened to me actually when I was in high school. Like they would list, and this is how quickly things can, sort of derail you.
Right.
They put a list of where everyone was going after high school. And so many from Philadelphia High School for Girls, shout out, they were going to the military and they were going to be to officer training.
Wow.
And I went down that afternoon and signed up for the Air Force.
Really?
As a true story.
It wasn't what you wanted, but you were...
I was compelled because I was sort of suddenly swayed by, maybe the ambitions of other people.
Right.
And thank God the recruiter during that conversation kind of figured that out and sort of maybe gave me an out. But I was
Nice.
there signing those papers to go to my whole life would have been different if I had gone to the Air Force.
Completely
So
different.
even though she doesn't know, and she's a different age,
Mhm.
we're right around that age where as adults, we may be in jobs, but they may not be our permanent jobs.
Mhm.
And if they are, do we want to be promoted inside of that?
Right.
And she's sort of trying to figure this
Right.
out.
There
So
you
that's-
go. It's good. You in the Air Force? Woo!
Fly
Actually,
the friendly skies. I would have been good at it.
you actually would have been
I'd
great
have been
at it.
great at it.
You've been
Are you
great.
kidding?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
could
you would've-
steer
you
a
would've-
plane.
Yes.
I was hell on a skateboard, so it can't be that far off. You know what I mean?
right.
Of
Sure.
course. I've got
Mhm.
skills.
I want to be the office manager.
Sinclair, you're not ready to run this office.
I knew you were going to say that. I called the printer and got him to make us a great deal. He's going to charge us 1/3 less per magazine, and all I had to do was order twice as many copies. Isn't that incredible and responsible?
We don't have the circulation to sell that many magazines.
You know, you could be a little more supportive.
I swear, if you weren't family, yo,
If I weren't family, what? You'd fire me?
Sinclair.
Well, you can't fire me, because I quit. Ha!
Oh, Lord.
Well, I defend myself. I prepare. I love that I go in with a plan. I take some initiative, talk to the printer. I make this great deal.
Yeah, but it ends up costing the money. You messed
Yeah,
up again.
I did,
It ends up costing money. And so that's not good. And she's mad. Khadijah's right to be mad.
Yeah, I
I
get
mean,
it.
you didn't know what you didn't know.
I
She
didn't.
doesn't
I
have
don't know
that.
what I didn't know. Right.
So, you are a Nepo hire, and she accuses you of that. Are you a Nepo hire?
I am a Nepo hire. Listen, I moved to New York to be with my cousin, of course, to look after me and to make sure that I'm able to pay the rent. She gives me a job. So yes, I'm a Nepo hire.
Yeah, but then as a Nepo hire, then you accuse her of keeping you down.
That's right. She is keeping me down,
Yeah. Well,
even
then
though
you
I
quit.
kind of messed things
You
up. And then I quit.
See, so you messing
Well,
up.
things escalated very quickly in that scene. And it's pride and it's fire. And I wanted to quit before she fired me.
Well, you showed her.
I showed her. I stormed out.
Did Khadijah hurt herself, her business, by hiring a cousin who may not be competent?
Well, time will tell. I bring joy, but
Time
I'm
would
losing-
tell. She just, the printer.
No,
The printer.
I don't know how long Sinclair has actually been working there, but obviously she's been making these mistakes over and over
Well,
and
she's
over
been
again.
protecting you. She's
Right,
been
she has.
protecting
She-
Sinclair.
She has.
Yeah,
And
because
making
I
up
don't
for
think you
it.
can make those kind of mistakes anywhere else and keep a job.
Oh, no.
Unless you're in the White House. That part. Hello? I said it.
I am proud to announce that I am no longer working for the oppressive management of Flavor Magazine. I'm also scared to announce that I'm unemployed and broke.
Maybe you'd like to be a handyman's apprentice.
Nah, I'd look terrible in a tool belt.
Is there anything I can do?
Well, my resume looks a little skimpy. Can you guys take a look and see what you think?
Well, girl, here's your problem. All this stuff is true. You got to be creative.
Yes, you see here where it says you were a cashier? No. You were a retail services output processor.
And here, phone sales, telecommunications market researcher. I'm liking that.
The
What is
writing and
that?
the timing.
You see?
Yeah.
Oh, there's the great Kim Fields.
great Kim
dressed
Fields.
like Madame Butterfly.
Right.
What
was
is
that?
she dressed?
What is she
That's how she
looking-
rolls in her house.
Love
Yeah,
it.
I love it.
I love how we weave Overton into this conversation, and he's also dropping the bombs. Like the other day we talked about Cress Williams being Queen Latifah's comedy king. I get my own king
get
right
your
there.
sitcom king there.
Nobody better than John to deliver that.
Absolutely.
With the
And they're all
quickness.
trying to help this jobless woman
Right.
figure out her plan to get a
Fin-
new job.
And finesse her resume, and very creatively.
But
Have you ever lied on a resume?
No, cannot. I've only acted in my life, and you either did it or you didn't.
Right.
If you say you worked at public theater, they can
Right.
they can know.
But there's plenty of actors who do that, who
I know,
who
and I
beef
was
up
not
their,
one of them.
Neither was I.
I couldn't.
I never did that, but I did.
Whoa,
I-
here it
I
comes.
did-
See, anytime she starts stuttering, yeah.
I did.
Oh, God.
I never lied on my resume, but I may have had a fake manager call people and have me booked. Okay, her name was Diane Bryant.
It was-
Hi there. This is Diane Bryant of Just for Laughs, and I have a wonderful comedian I want to send your way. Her name is Kim Coles. She's gorgeous and she's funny. And I want to send you her VHS tape and her resume and her picture. I'm telling you, you're going to fall in love. I will have my messenger drop off the information. Thank you. I'm looking forward to a call from you. All right, you take care now. Wait. The messenger was my ex-husband. He would go and deliver the package to get me seen and heard. And yeah, thank you. Diane Bryant.
Bravo, right?
So
this kid has skills.
You gotta.
You know what? I'm really impressed by that.
Thank you. You should be.
You know, I might be having to do some of that myself.
Ingenuity.
I'm dead serious.
You take the reins of your own career.
Absolutely.
It got me in the door. And then, of course, I showed up and would audition and do a good job or whatever. But yeah.
If you cannot show that you got the receipts, you know what I mean?
Right.
Then they won't hire you. It's not extraordinary that people do it.
Well, you know, and then there's also the rule, especially in show business, they say if they ask you if you can do something, say yes and then go learn how to do it. And so I think this could relate to people in all kinds of jobs, like just be curious and be ready to learn the skills you need to have in order to get and or keep the job.
Well, one time, I mean, just really quickly, they wanted to know if I ever worked with snakes. And that would be a no. Sometimes you don't pay off. Don't lie.
Don't lie.
Don't get on there and think, you know what, I'll make friends with the snake when I get there. No, you won't.
No, you won't. It will not turn out well.
You're not going to do it.
Right.
Please don't say it. Don't call us. We'll call you.
We'll keep in touch.
Yes. Good morning, Unetta. Welcome to Flavor.
I prefer Mrs. Ryan in the workplace.
Oh, we're pretty informal around here.
Mrs. Ryan.
Okay. Mrs. Ryan, is there any mail?
Initial here, please.
Excuse me?
Nothing leaves my desk unless it's signed out.
But it's my mail.
Yes, dear. Sign here, please. Flavor. Hold, please. Will there be anything else?
Well, maybe you can answer the phone with a little more warmth.
Of course. Flavor.
Yay!
All right. So I go on a job interview.
But it was horrible.
It was
you did a bad job.
I pulled it together. Did you see how professional I looked?
Yeah,
I was
you
ready.
bombed. You looked amazing,
right.
And then you bombed. But you know what I really loved?
What do you love?
When you grabbed the
whatever it was
and start acting like you're on a mic.
Right.
Clean up on aisle 5. You know, and you're going just.
I want to show him
out.
because I'm just like, look at me. I was really good at it. Here's yeah, right.
Stone cold crazy.
Just taking the moment, taking the energy, and trying to make it work. Trying to make him fall in love with me so that he would hire me for whatever it was I was going for.
But you wouldn't even talk about your past work experience.
No, I would not.
Yeah, because
you're not going to get the job.
No, you're not.
No.
Meanwhile, back at Flavor, we got Mrs. Ryan, and she's at your desk. And there's a great Isabel Sanford, yes. And she's Flavor. She's answering the phone.
And I love
deadpan
that
as
timing,
possible.
as deadpan as possible. And that comedy timing, of course, and that smile. Or is it a smile or more like a grimace?
It's a grimace because she can't smile. Her smile doesn't touch her eyes nor her heart.
No. And it doesn't touch our heart either. Nor does it touch Khadijah's heart because she's paying attention. Like, oh, yeah, that's much better.
Well, when you're gone, you can see what you're missing. You can't, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. Come on.
The great Joni Mitchell never lied. Okay.
They never lied. Right, and there she is gone. You know what? By the way, Mrs. Ryan is her name, but her first name is Unetta. And that's what Khadijah calls her. Why is that important?
Unetta, I believe at the time of this episode, has been brought in by Yvette as a Black female writer because there weren't that many Black females writing in the industry. Unetta is now being brought in to work with Yvette and be her, right hand, and did so well as her mentee that she went on to do her own show.
Yes, she went on to do her own show.
Went on to do her own show, one-on-one.
One-on-one.
And both of us got hired on 101
to do guest stars on 101.
So, and she's no longer with us on this physical plane.
Rest in power.
But we got to meet her in the beginning of this part of her career, because I don't know what she had come to Living Single with, but we know that she moved on and did great.
And shout out to Yvette Lee Bowser, because she did that consistently. She created opportunities for other writers, especially writers of color, who not only went on to do their own shows, but then obviously that brought a lot of great wealth into our community.
Yes,
so, it's a win-win situation.
So she's being honored here by giving her a name.
Yes, there she is, immortalized inside of this when she comes in and says, "Unetta, good morning," and she goes, "Mrs. Ryan."
I prefer Mrs. Ryan at the workplace.
Yes, and so there you are.
Brilliant.
Hey, guess what? I got a job.
So I see. Hey, has anyone asked you why you crossed the road today?
Hardy har har. I'm laughing. For your FYI, I am a turkey, not a chicken.
Hey, either way, girl, you are poultry with a paycheck.
Yes. And there's more. I only worked 4 hours and they promoted me to the assistant manager.
Sounds like things are working out pretty well for the both of us. My new assistant, I can't say enough about her.
Let me tell you, at the turkey hut, I'm climbing to the top.
So, Sinclair, you really happy?
Yeah. Leaving Flavor was the best thing I could have done for myself. At the turkey hut, I rediscovered something I was beginning to lose. My dignity. Good night, all.
Whenever you do that walk, Kim, whenever you do that walk, we know that some funny is coming.
I am following the footsteps of everybody who ever did that. And a little side note about that costume. So first of all, you said to me while we were watching it, who did I look like?
To me, you look like a cross between Betty Crocker and somebody who works at Denny's.
Okay, true.
You got a bird on your head.
I got a bird on my head. And
actually, that hat is fly as hell.
It's incredible. It's incredible. It was
sell
made
that
for that.
Stadiums. You paint that green. Go Eagles.
There you go. And here's my little secret about that is I wanted the wings to be able to move. So one of the reasons why I'm being so physical is I'm trying to get the wings to move. They don't move it. They flap just a little bit. Nope. So when I take it and put it back on and do that, I'm like, I want the wings to move. And they couldn't make them move the way I wanted them to. I was trying to make it work.
I just thought you had developed a tick. No. Well, there you go.
Comedy. It's comedy. It's comedy. It's comedy.
Well,
so you could see that Khadijah doesn't want Sinclair to know that maybe she's not so happy with this new hire.
No, she misses her cousin. She can't admit that.
Right. And I've got my pride too. Down at the they're about to promote me there too.
Yeah, well, you come home and you're bragging that not only did you get this job, you got promoted within 4 hours.
Come on. At the turkey hut. Is that a promotion?
Hut? No, somebody quit and you took their job.
Hi, Khadijah.
Miss James, I can't find the correspondence file anywhere.
Here you go.
I've been trying to figure out your filing system. It's not chronological. It's not alphabetical. What is it?
It's emotional.
Really? You know that much about how I feel? Well, I was thinking maybe if things don't work out at Turkey Huts, you could come back here on a trial basis.
Are you offering me a job?
Are you saying you want a job?
Are you saying you give me more responsibility, a raise, and a title?
How does Vice President of Inter-Office Affairs sound?
Sounds good.
Well, I go to the office to collect my belongings.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. I'm like, hey, Khadijah. Hi.
Yeah, but then you meet Mrs. Ryan.
Yes.
And she is not happy. She's happy to see you.
Not at all.
She's like, listen, this is official. You can go. Yeah.
But we learned that only Sinclair understands the filing system. We learned that.
That's right.
We now know that there is something that she does right. We don't understand
Well, there's a method to her madness.
Right.
I mean, she's locked in on a system that she has custom made for her cousin that's anchored to Khadijah's moods.
And isn't that valuable?
Well, it is, because I think maybe what happened is Khadijah is now seeing that you pay attention.
Yes.
And that there are things that happen in that office because you are balancing the mood. You're the vibes watcher.
Ding, ding,
Come
ding,
on,
ding, ding.
let's get that. And that sort of says, this clever system that you created is valuable, and therefore you are. And she wants you back.
She wants me
Cousins want to be back together.
Of course we do.
Yeah, plus you want to get rid of Mrs. Ryan,
right.
who's a straight drag.
Come on.
So she rehires you.
She rehires me and gives me a promotion.
You know, she didn't give you no raise.
No.
So she gave you a paint job.
Well, but that's the negotiation,
Not a new
isn't
chassis.
it? It's a negotiation. It's like, I'll take that because now I feel as if I'm getting respected.
There you go.
I don't get a raise, but at least I get this.
And then your first duty after that is go and fire
I take
Mrs.
the initiative to fire Mrs. Ryan, which is not something I think I would want to do. Like, I don't want to fire that lady. No. Let me show that your confidence you've placed in me is well placed.
So the cousins are back together and it is what it is. And yeah, nice.
How do you think Sinclair felt to be rehired, this time with a promotion?
Well, I think she did right by her, I think. But I also think that the fact that she didn't keep Mrs. Ryan means that she's not serious about making it to the top.
Well, maybe she wants to make it to the top, but this time with family. This is The Reverb, our time to reflect on the episode's themes and how they still echo throughout the culture. And now it's time for The Reverb, and we're going to talk about nepotism.
Kim, what is nepotism?
Oh, I have a description here for you right here.
Oh, do say.
Nepotism is the act of granting favors, jobs, or privileges to relatives, regardless of their qualifications, often due to a personal relationship or power dynamic.
Wow. Okay, right. So, Kim, based on that definition, ask me that question again.
Erica, what is nepotism?
Hollywood is nepotism.
It is 100% true.
It's true.
We see it all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny because I've come up against it. We talk about nepotism and it's all around. I mean, it's just how the world works. We say Hollywood, but it's a corporate structure.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
People
so
forget that.
Some people do have the correct family members that know how to navigate it.
And that's the upside. Sometimes it does work out.
Yeah,
right?
It does. Absolutely.
I'm always delighted during the Golden Globes where they have, you know, the kid handing out the awards are the offspring of someone in the business.
Yes.
And they announce them as Mr. or Miss, Golden Globe this
Those
year.
are legacy players that have been there, and then suddenly their children have grown up enough to sort of usher, you know, the talent on and off.
Right.
And it's actually a beautiful thing, and I love that.
Well, speaking of this, I have a personal experience with working with family and seeing nepotism work up close and not working out so well. So I had a job, one of my last jobs before coming into show business was working for Barney's New York. Barney's New York is the great store that has, I think it's now closed. There may be a couple of locations now, but it was just one store at the time. It was a menswear store. And I worked across the street as an import coordinator. Very fancy. Very like my resume.
Okay.
So I was the import coordinator, which meant that my job was to check with customs to make sure the samples came in and the shipments came in fine. But
wow.
How do you put that? So the granddaughter of Barney came in and she was demanding that I get her shipments out of customs. Well, I can't make U.S. customs do nothing.
Power?
Yeah, I did not have that power. And I let her know, like, no, I can't help you. But she wasn't really listening to me because she was someone who spent a lot of time, you know, down on 10th Avenue hanging out with, you know, folks doing heroin and whatnot. I don't say
She was
anything.
a party girl.
She was a party girl,
Yeah,
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And so she let me know that she was going to make sure that she was going to let me go.
Her granddaddy.
Let me go. What she didn't know is I had put in my 2 weeks notice already.
Wow.
Because my career was taking off and I couldn't work a full-time job anymore. And so she did not know. Right. I'd already put in my 2 week notice. And so when she went and tried to get me fired, it was like, oh, no, she's already leaving, but they still needed me to train the new guy.
Ooh.
So they let me stay on to train the new guy, and then I was let go after that week. I did 1 week. I was training him up. I was like, I got 2 weeks to get him ready. They felt he was ready enough, and then they let me go. So in the end, we each had a little bit of a power struggle, and she let me. They let me go.
I liked how you one-upped her.
I did.
Made sure you took.
No, I've already put in my 2 week notice.
I know that's right. The ancestors were happy with that.
They're
result.
like, no, we need her. She's really good. I trained the guy. They let me go after a week.
Isn't that funny? You're happy that you trained the guy that replaced you. We're so happy that, I left. I was fired, but I trained the person that came after me.
Because the job still needed to get done.
Of course.
Wow.
You know.
That's funny, isn't it?
We're worker bees.
Worker bees.
Yeah.
But I left with, listen, she may not have had a good taste in my mouth She may not have had a good taste in her mouth, mostly because of all the drinking and drugging she was doing. But I left the company allegedly. But I left the company with a good taste in their mouth about me. Yeah.
Although you never returned to there except to shop.
Often.
Come on.
Once I had the ducats. Yes. Remember when they built the store in Beverly Hills? They had the staircase.
It was fabulous.
I would go up on the staircase and think, I used to work here in the office. Yes. And now I'm buying all the things.
Yes.
And charging up my card. But that's another story.
And losing all our generational wealth.
Yeah, shopping
to someone
for purses and shoes.
Who didn't need it.
No, right.
Well, it is what it is. By the way, that also shows that there can be those horrible times where family comes in and suddenly, you're in their sort of special privileged world. But, there's a lot of good things that happen when you work with family, like trust and love. Sometimes they have the same DNA as you. Yeah. So there's a special craftsmanship that you can pass on to your son or daughter that just runs in your family, like Michael Douglas, Kirk Douglas.
Like Chip Fields.
Chip Fields and Kim Fields. I mean, look, and also the other thing is when family works together, they're on the payroll. Mm-hmm. They're kind of tied and tethered together. So we know you go up with the tide or go down with the ship.
Up with the tide or down with the ship.
With the punches, because when there's a downturn, you don't necessarily have to take a check. You can say, no, I'm here, and that's family. Mm-hmm. So there's all sorts of good things. And it's a human instinct for survival to choose people who can help and or not harm you. Right. And that's really all we're talking about. Nepotism really is. Right. It's got a bad connotation, but I think what it is ultimately is that human beings survived out of, hiring their tribe.
Mm-hmm. Keeping it in the tribe. Have you ever hired a family member?
No, not officially. Well, not like that. On small
what about
things
your niece?
When we work together.
Who played the music for you?
She played the music for me when I got Storyteller of the Year from the Mall. But no, I mean, that was a gig, and it was, So I've worked with family, yes. But I don't think hired in the way that they're talking
about here. Okay.
Yeah, I would do it again because the result is very good.
Yeah.
But then also it can kind of get weird because you can't then demand of your family, look, man, I told you that I needed that on Tuesday. Like, there's no HR.
There's no HR at all.
No, you can't whip them.
But you can't beat your employees either. So.
Well, the point is that I didn't have any leverage over family. Okay. I didn't have the leverage that I needed. And so I think that that's the problem. And over friends and family.
Okay.
You got to all want the end goal
together.
Just as much together.
Got it. Okay.
I mean, so there's a certain type of nepotism. You hire your tribe, and that's a cool thing. But for Black people, it's not just an act of survival. It was part of segregation. We weren't allowed to sort of visit the stores or create industry or entrepreneur ventures in other neighborhoods. And so in that way, I think that it's been self-sustainable, organic growth. And I think that it's very healthy. It's what we need in order to have kind of restitution and reparations within our own community. And, the other day I actually met someone his name was Thelonious Monk. And I thought, he was just named that.
Right.
I said, I just did, American Fiction, and they had the lead character, Jeffrey Wright's character was named Thelonious. And he goes, well, I'm Thelonious Monk, the fourth. If you could have seen my mouth drop, that I was looking at the great-great-great-great-grandson of the fourth Thelonious Monk. And right there, I can tell you that I have always thought that and just speaking to my people, that if you see these people who are the sons and daughters of so many people who have created the way for us, that I am obligated to help them. I don't even care if they need my help or want it. I said to him, Thelonious, look here, take my number. If there's anything that you ever think I can do for you, please call me so I can pay tribute to your grandfathers and your legacy, people who have created such a great legacy. The jazz legacy is what built America. It's just a wonderful thing. And he took it, and we had a conversation, and I was happy. And I do that for anybody's son or daughter. And I think we should all, make sure that their family members are taken care of when we can.
Of course.
As tribute, to pay tribute to them. You saw that?
Right.
How I
Yes, I felt the tribute, absolutely.
And then
kiss up.
That's right.
Bow down, kiss up.
Right. And it's good karma.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Every time you hear any of Thelonious Monk's music, it will be wafting.
I got you.
Thank you for helping my great-great-great-great-great-grandson.
Yes.
All right. It is now time for my very favorite part of the show. It's True Blue, where we hear from you, the fans, the friends. So I know that Amber has something for us to hear or see from one of you. What you got, Amber?
This is from Shania Taylor. And she says that I have always valued my friendships with my girls. As an adult, my closest friends no longer live close. Watching, or should I say rewatching the show, makes me reminisce on the times with my girls in our younger years. My question is, did any of you actually live with a roommate or roommates as a young adult? And if so, were any of your roommates similar to any of the characters on the show?
That's a good question.
It is. For me, no. No, my first roommate. Well, I had
all your roommates were your boyfriends.
Yeah, exactly.
That's our roommates.
Roommates were husbands. I had a roommate in college, but that was
it's called a roommate with benefits.
Right, exactly. A roommate in college, but it was so brief, and I dropped out of that college immediately. So yeah, no, my first roommate was my husband, and we lived with my mother-in-law.
Oh,
so
wow.
I had two roommates, and they were
sounds
nothing.
like a sitcom.
It really was. Nothing like the rest of my roommates here on this show.
So, we talked about my first boyfriend, Richard Lyons, on here. And so that would have been my first roommate. And Richard Whiten. Richard Whiten, Big Rich. We called him Big Rich.
Big Rich.
I called him Fred for Frederick because they were both Richard. And so when I'd say Rich, they both say what? And I'd say, nope. Both of y'all can't be Rich. So then I started calling him Fred, his middle name. We actually had a fantastic dynamic.
You really did.
I mean, come on. They're very handsome. Here we are in Brooklyn, and I've got these beautiful, handsome dudes that I always was arriving with.
Always protecting you.
Always protecting me.
It was a good look.
It was a good look. It was a good look. And Richard Whiten couldn't have been sweeter.
Oh,
and he was always working out. Rich. I mean, he was like all buff
We
and
call
everything.
him Big Rich for a reason.
Rich. And so we lived together in my first apartment that I bought, and it was one of those those co-ops. Yeah, and it was a 2-room, 2-bathroom, fireplace, backyard.
What?
Yeah.
You gave that? You still have it?
They stayed. When I went to LA to do a living single, they stayed, and then they slowly moved, and then I rented it out to their friends, a friend, and then they stopped paying rent.
Oh.
I had to go to court, and it was messed up. I went to court, and the judge looked at me and said, I recognize you.
I remember this story, but I didn't remember what it was about.
It was horrible.
Yes.
He said, I recognize you. You're that girl. You on that show. He's talking about Cosby Show, Cousin Pam. I said, yes, sir. Cousin Pam, I just want you to know you ain't going to get no special treatment. It's a black judge. The point is, I said it was my money or my time. I decided to pay my money and get out of that. That thing.
Okay.
And got rid of it and sold the co-op. The people are still there, and it's now more than what did I get that for? $89,000? It was worth. It's now worth like over $1 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So my roommates ended up making me sell my place because I didn't. Let's word to the mother.
Wow.
Figure that out. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. None of my roommates were like the characters in the show.
No.
And I don't think I would want to live with the characters of the show.
Nor would I.
Yeah.
No.
I'm good.
I'm good too.
I mean, it's fun to visit with them. But do you want to live with Regine?
No.
Maybe not. You know what? I take that back. I wouldn't mind living with the Khadijah character because she got her stuff together.
Okay.
She gets them, she goes to work, and that's it. You, unfortunately, as Sinclair, meaning you're Sinclair, that's too much, wild, that's the Wild West. I don't need it.
It would be a joyful household,
trolls
wouldn't
and
it?
stuff. It would be joyful. But then, I'd go and open up the refrigerator and you'd have trolls in there.
Yeah, no
weird.
fun. No.
Yeah. But you wouldn't want Max as a roommate?
No.
Why
I wouldn't
not?
want Max as a roommate because she's too
hungry.
She would eat up all the food. She would eat up all the food and never gain a pound, and that would be a problem for me. How did you do it? I can't wait to talk about that on the show.
That's hateration.
It was real. Like how your body type, you just have a great metabolism and could eat and never gain a pound. That would be a problem for me. Ultimately.
Yeah, and Max may have a great metabolism, but Erica worked out the entire time, every day with a trainer. I don't want anybody to think that was extraordinary. Actually worked for that body.
Well, there you have it. Don't forget to send in your questions or comments to Reliving Single Podcast at heartbeat.com. I hope the answer did not disappoint you. Good luck.
Well, that's it, y'all. Thank you so much for your continued support, your love. We are truly humbled by all the letters, the DMs, all the videos. Thank you.
Yeah, we sure do love it. So make sure you follow us on all the socials at Reliving Single Podcast or listen or watch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places where you find the podcast. We are there, and we will see you all next week.
Reliving Single is hosted by me, Erica Alexander.
And me, Kim Coles.
Reliving Single is a production of Heartbeat in association with Color Farm Media.
Executive produced by Kevin Hart, Jeff Clanagan, Eric Eddings, Leslie Guam, Erica Alexander, and Ben Arnad.
The show is produced by Kim Coles.
Amber Watson is our senior producer.
Our associate producer is Kenny Jackson.
Our video editor is Nee Kirschman.
Our sound engineers are Eric Hicks and Cedric Wilson.
Production supervision by Razak Boykin and Brett Calkins.
Additional production support from Alex Atkins and Z Taylor.
Special thanks to BK Augustine and Dr. E.J. Johnson.